everything's normal. So you fly and you go up, you go up, you go up, you go up to 14,000 feet. And somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. You're standing and your toes are on the edge and you're looking out down to death.
I've been doing filmmaking for a long time now. My career path is very cliche. Started off doing still photography in high school, jumped in, did some weddings, finally got into video, did some more weddings, and then started the very long journey that was low budget commercials. There's a lot of people who don't want to turn their hobby into a job, and I never really understood that growing up. But in hindsight, I actually do very much understand that. I grabbed my parents' camcorder like in 3rd or 4th grade and instantly fell in love with just looking through a viewfinder and capturing stuff. Again, very cliche war movies that I made with my friends, filming my sister's volleyball games, and just random stuff throughout the house. And so from a very young age, all the way up until about high school, filmmaking was just my hobby. But I always knew that I wasn't gonna go to college, I just wanted to be a filmmaker. But fast forward to after I had a couple small 9-to-5 jobs, and now I'm out on my own doing freelancing full-time, it's very easy to start to lose that passion and start to lose that why of the why you started it in the first place. So for years, I feel like I've lost my creativity. Just making mundane content, both here on YouTube, as well as in my commercial work, it just became kind of this repetitive, like, yep, get a new client, freak out about bills, finish that job, get paid, yay, we can breathe for, oh, just about a day, and then, oh, find another client. I think it's something that freelancers in all industries can definitely understand. And so my biggest supporter, my wife, for years has been like, you just look depressed at the thing that you say you love to do. I didn't realize how aimless I actually was. So back in August, my wife practically kicked me out the door, told me to buy a ticket and head to Vancouver, one of the places that I've always wanted to visit because I'm obsessed with snow-topped mountains and water and green thick forests that I could get lost in. So I took my very first solo trip to Vancouver, Canada. And let's just say things didn't exactly go as planned. After a long day of travel, I finally arrived in my Airbnb, and instantly I was captivated by the beautiful views. It honestly was just breathtaking. I got there in the evening, so I kind of just decided to chill. But this is where I get stuck on vacations. I'm not a by nature extroverted person at all. When I go anywhere and I have a hotel room, that becomes my safe place. And leaving that safe place is actually quite difficult for me. I have a long history with like bipolar depression, sensory processing disorder, and recently diagnosed with ADHD. Those are very all complex things that kind of show differently in everyone. My point is, going out and doing fun things is not easy for me to do, but when I do them, I feel fulfilled and I enjoy myself, and it's getting in that practice. For anyone else who is watching who experiences the same thing, which I think is a lot of people, because a lot of us can sit in front of these screens all day and consume content. But Peter McKinnon recently in one of his videos talked about how you shouldn't consume more content than you create. And I am guilty of doing that for way too many years. So the next morning I was like, okay, we are not going to sit in this Airbnb all day. We are not going to just like snack and watch YouTube or Netflix all day and waste this time. So I asked one of the locals, where is a good place to hike? They pointed me out to a trail that was really close by, but also beautiful. So I just started walking. When I first got to the trail, there was a major uphill climb and I instantly regretted everything. I was already exhausted before it even began, but I kept pushing, kept walking. And before I knew it, I actually started to enjoy the struggles. So many times we're in these unique and beautiful places and we don't even stop to really look around. At some point I realized, I was like, wait, there's no rush for anything. Stop, take out my camera, take out my drone, get the shots that I want to. You know, there's this path and I was like, man, I really want to walk across this log right here. Oh, I know I'm not really supposed to, there's a fence here. So, you know, live a little, Michael. I was freaking out. I absolutely hate heights, which if you saw the intro, you know there's stuff coming about that. Finally get to the end of the path and it comes out to this dock where it's kind of this not lake, but kind of very large pond. Other people end up coming, and we even saw a black bear from across the way for just a few seconds before he ran back off into the woods. It took a couple hours to walk back from the trail, and once I got to the end, I felt so exhausted and I was dripping in sweat, but I was so fulfilled with, you know, being proud of myself for going out and doing something new. And I just felt so alive, and so I was like, I want to do something crazy. So I had an idea that I'm probably going to regret later, but look at what I texted Michelle. So yeah, skydiving. I did it. Ticket is purchased. Yeah, there was no turning back after buying that. They said very clearly that there were no refunds. But anyway, I was like, you know what? No, this is gonna be a great week. I set it for Monday. I believe it was Friday that it was currently on. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something cool every day that will lead up to this. So the next day was absolutely incredible. I traveled over to Vancouver Island. The ferry experience, love. Met some amazing people in a really cool band. And once I got to the island, I met up with John Fulton, who you should absolutely know from TikTok, here on YouTube, and just everywhere. He's a fantastic human being and creator. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I was looking through our messages and I do not remember the something with a T. I don't know. John, comment down below where we actually went, but it was beautiful. For the first time in a long time, it just felt like I could breathe. And even though we're just like 2 or 3 days into this trip, I feel so invigorated and refreshed. So we ended up not having to leave the beach early, so we stayed for sunset, which was incredible. So the next day, I wanted to cross something off my bucket list. This was going to Whistler, which if you Google is just this extraordinarily beautiful place. However, I did not plan this trip very well. The most beautiful drive I've ever done in my entire life. It was a couple hours of just driving up the coast, mountains and water, just absolutely gorgeous, winding roads, so much fun. But then I got to Whistler and I was very confused. Whistler is an extremely popular tourist town where like skiing and events. I seriously was expecting to like drive into the mountains where almost no one was and have this crazy long hike. Well, apparently to get to that is another couple hours north. So I ended up going north, honestly, just another like 20 or 30 minutes. I found a place that, you know, had the beautiful mountain look that I was going for. I didn't end up getting to hike up to a beautiful mountain peak and see all that there was. So next time I go, that is definitely what I'm going to plan and do properly. But I met some really cool people, saw some awesome planes take off, people having fun on jet skis, and kind of just watched the sunset there. Had a nighttime drive back. The next day, this was it. This was Monday. This was the day of the skydive. Now the skydive, I want to say, was at 4 p.m. This day I gave in to all of my anxieties. I don't think I left the room at all. And what I did do during the room is I put on some Soundstripe, which if you guys don't know is one of the best places to get license-free music, and of course help make this trip entirely possible. I just sat around the room with their dedicated app and I just made a whole Vancouver playlist, and my emotions were going all over the place. So I mean, I was saving upbeat, motivational, rising cinematic music, and sometimes going with some somber, nervous, anxious type music. I've been using Soundstripe for months in all of my videos, so if you guys want to check them out, even get a discount, check out the information down in the description. Huge thanks to Soundstripe for sponsoring this video. So it finally is time to leave. And we're off. I shit you not, this song just came on my Apple Music. Is that a sign? I certainly hope not. Skydiving is something I always swore I would absolutely never, ever, ever do. And so I figured if I could push through and accomplish this, I could conquer anything. So I get there, I'm super late, I get out of my car, I basically run 600 feet to a hangar where everyone else is ready to go. The guy that was going to be jumping, you know, attached to my back introduced himself real quick. I paid extra to have someone jump and film me, because of course. Introduced himself, and he's interviewing me, and my face, like, I'm trying to look happy and excited, but I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. My nerves are freaking through the roof. We get in the plane. That is the moment that I am very close to backing out. The plane goes up for about 10 or 15 minutes. You know, I'm starting to feel okay. I'm like, okay, I'm just accepting what's gonna happen. And then just like Will Smith said, they open that door, and I had a rush of anxiety that I have never experienced before. I am right at the front. I'm the second closest to the door. I'm the second person to go. Keep in mind, the lady in front of me was like I don't want to throw out an age, but a older lady, and she's just like, let's go. I'm like, okay. Props to her, man. She was a freaking champ. But I am absolutely freaking out. I do not want to do this. She jumps. It is now my turn. We waddle up to that edge. All I have in my head throughout this entire process is let go, let go, let go. I don't even hear the guy counting down. 3, 2, 1. He pushes us out, and instantly, the first thing that comes into my mind is Will was right. The second I jump, all fear goes away. It is the most blissful 30-ish seconds of my entire life. I mean, all the things go through your head, the beauty of the scenery. I definitely had the thought of like, well, if I die right now, this is the most beautiful place to splat to the ground that I've ever seen. But instead of my life flashing before my eyes because I thought I was going to die, what flashed before my eyes is what my life could be if I just decided to make decisions that scare me, to push myself beyond what I thought was possible. We finally landed and touched to the ground, and I felt more fulfilled, more excited about life than I have ever thought possible. I am so incredibly thankful for that experience. I'm alive. That was incredible. The second I was about to step out was maximum fear. I was about to quit, but then the second you start falling, incredible. Zero fear. The next morning, it was time to leave. I checked out of my Airbnb and headed towards the airport, but I wanted to get one last little adventure, and I wanted to continue to be the person to push myself. So I quickly looked on the map to see if there was anything that looked interesting on the way. Saw that there was this lighthouse, and I was like, perfect. So I quickly drive there, I park, I get to the end, and they have the lighthouse area completely closed for construction. You can't even get close to it. It was the most anticlimactic experience of the entire trip.
This ironic ending to an extraordinary week is just proof that every adventure is not going to have a payoff that we may have hoped for. But I'm walking away with the knowledge that the only thing that's been stopping me from conquering everything that I wanted to was in fact myself. But I now have the indisputable proof that all it takes to truly conquer your fears is to take one step.